Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And BlueDragonFive.
And tonight we are reigning in the new year with a look at Dragon. This might be one of our last original Peanuts holiday specials that we haven't covered. Happy New Year, Charlie Brown from 1986.
Yeah.
Okay, Dragon. So this is a really interesting one. I think like this is like a in terms of the timeline, of course, we've already talked about the big iconic ones like Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown Christmas. We've done those ages ago. We did my personal, not my favorite, but the one that I grew up with, the Easter Beagle Charlie Brown.
Cover the
And
Valentine's Day.
yeah, Valentine's Day. That was in Dragon. I feel like this kind of transitions into from Valentine's Day because this is another Peanut special where I'll just say this for my thesis. It's got a surprisingly cynical tone to it, even for Peanuts. I mean, it really does. Like, I was kind of astonished the way that this episode just, like, it almost felt like a dark comedy where it just, like, it keeps lapping all this horrible shit on Charlie Brown. And it's just by the end of it, you're just kind of left like, what the hell? Like, Dragon, here's the thing. I'm not sure if I really like this or really don't like it. I've watched it twice. I needed to get a second watch in just to digest it, and I don't know, man. I don't know if I've ever been so polarized on a Peanuts related thing before because it's like at the core, it's a very simple special, but I feel like the cynicism in it just goes a little bit overboard. And I'm saying that as someone who loves the cynical nature of the Peanuts. I don't know, man. What do you think? I'm dying to get your thoughts on this one.
So here's the interesting thing. So for years, this one's a nostalgic one for me. It is where Happy New Year, Charlie Brown. It was to me, it was kind of like the uncovered. Remember Patchy the Pirate when he was looking for the lost episode of SpongeBob?
Of course.
Basically, imagine for me as a kid, that was kind of my reaction to this, where it was like, oh my god, we thought we knew all the specials, all the Peanut stuff. You had, we had, Christmas, we had Halloween, we had at least two Valentine's Day, we had Easter and Thanksgiving. Those were essentially, you had 5 to 6 holidays there, and there was an Arbor Day, but I mean, Arbor Day was also kind of a rare find in itself. So I mean,
Oh my
yeah,
god, we need to cover Arbor Day at some point just to complete the
I mean, I
cycle.
still have the VHS tape for that, but I'm sure we can find it, so it shouldn't be a problem. But I mean, yeah, at some point, here's the thing: we got to figure out when Arbor Day actually is. And if we need a pitch, we're just going to pitch Groot celebrating Arbor Day. That's what we're going to do for a pitch.
Oh god.
No, in all seriousness, yeah. So the point is, this was always like a
No,
rare find.
we
Like,
could do a legit Arbor Day month if we really wanted to. We could do like the Giving Tree and like Lord of the Rings, the Two Towers, hypothetically with all
there's the
stuff.
Treehouse episode of Hey Arnold, the whole Save the Tree thing.
Oh god.
You remember that,
Anyways,
right? Anyway,
of
yeah.
course,
So
of course.
okay, getting back to this. So the point is like this is like again like you have like roughly six 5 to 6 holiday specials. Then you find this making number 7. It's like oh my god, I've uncovered it. And I watched it, and again, it was always like you kind of watch it year round because hey, you had something to end the new year with. You have Charlie Brown New Year's, and for years you kind of convince yourself you like things. And it's like, it's peanuts. I mean, all the peanuts are great. And then, as the years go on, of course, you watch these things like the back of your hand. You have along the lines, peanuts, even reaching beyond the like the main, the classic holiday specials. You got like the Mayflower, Peanuts Mayflower thing. You have like
Oh,
all
the
sorts.
Mayflower's a classic. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
The Great River, whatever it's called.
the river raft. Yeah, I know the summer vacation one.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
yeah. I mean, you have like all these kind of these offsets of the peanuts, and there's one that really just always rubbed me the wrong way. It's the not the Mayflower, but they package it with the Mayflower a lot. It's the Independence Day Charlie Brown, I think. Well, the one where they do the present, we see the presents, which always fell off. You remember that one?
Uh-huh. I do.
So that's my point. My point is like over the years, you have a few that just kind of don't hold up as well as when you first watch it because initially you kind of think, hey, it's peanuts, therefore it's great. And you really look at it or you rewatch it, and over the years, kind of something occurs. And I think this year it kind of really finally fully occurred to me. It's like, kind of is getting to a place where like this one never held up as much as the original holiday ones, of course. But again, I had that fondness for it. I had that recognition of like, yeah, I always go to this one scene, which we'll get to. It's like this one scene I always kind of imagine, like, oh yeah, this is it's Charlie Brown New Year. This scene kind of it's a nice little scene there for the whole thing is like this nice little scene. That's not the case. It's not Peanut. This folks is the long-winded way of saying this is not Peanuts A material, but to me, it's the last of the holidays. It is, and it's this, and the only real bit of background I have, I'm going to kind of insert into here, is in 1986. This came out in '86, which essentially is kind of towards the end of the line of when the Peanuts were coming out. Like I don't think we got anything. I can't remember if anything really came out in the '90s aside from just that maybe that Mayflower, not the Mayflower thing, but the Mayflower and the presidential thing. Maybe the presidential thing was the last thing. Maybe that was like one of the last things come out in the '90s. I'm not sure. Well, then again, they did that the thing in 2011. They did the Happiness is a Warm Blanket. They did something with Linus getting rid of the blanket as a story. They did that story. And I was not crazy about that either. My point is, there was a TV show. I remember this in Tiki. I'm hoping I'm going to deep into some deep Peanuts nostalgia here, especially with the Nickelodeon VHS. I'm convinced they run the Nickelodeon VHS. It's like Rugrats.
I know where you're going with this.
Tiki, some of the happiest Peanuts related memories from my nostalgic youth were not even on the Peanuts cassette tapes, and it's not all of them, but we're on the VHS tapes of either Peanuts or something like very kid targeted, where you'd have the trailer of that big booming announcer voice guy saying "Own the Peanuts today," and you're telling you own the Peanuts today, and you cut to like the families, like the mothers and the children, like saying Snoopy, and you like cut to all these great little clips from the Peanuts, and basically it's almost like one of those ads you find on TV late at night, the pre-programming ads where they're always trying to sell something on QVC,
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
And they're delightful. I mean, I love those things. It just seem like kind of like it's really the most emotionally attached I am to a commercial retroactively looking back. It's like, again, those really reach the core of one of the most beautiful relationships you can have with the Peanuts. The relationship I have with my own mother and everybody, my mother, my grandmother, everybody has a fondness for Peanuts, and that's what these commercials always signified. And the reason I'm even bringing this up is because I remember in those commercials they also advertised the Peanuts TV show, which I did, look into because there was like a Peanuts animated show, and I believe this was a spin-off from the animated show because I believe it had like a similar voice cast. I'm pretty sure all of this like stems from that TV show. This feels like the most TV show influenced. It basically, this whole thing, Happy New Year, Charlie Brown, feels more like an episode of a TV show than it does like a full-blown holiday special. You follow my logic there?
Absolutely, 100%. It totally feels like that. It totally like kind of. I feel like it bridges the gap, but at the same time, like it's definitely like this weird enigma of just just this holiday special that exists inside of the framework of the TV show almost. Although I don't think officially, but you're right. I do think a lot of the voice cast probably crosses over.
Because that's the thing, I can't place a finger on
this one. Like the voice actress for Peppermint Patty in this one is just distractingly off key for me. I don't know about you.
I think we're gonna be really simpatico on this one. I have a feeling, but yeah, but that's to me that's the equation. Looking back on it, like really under a critical, like going beat by beat through the thing, getting ready for this is like, you know what? I've always had issues with bits in the Peanuts, and you're just like something like, oh, we love the Peanuts, and we just kind of let it ride. It's like, it's like, well, why does Charlie Brown get the rock? Because it's hilarious, and it makes you wonder. Oh my God, they have a rock, like a bowl of rocks specifically for Charlie Brown or people with terrible costumes. That's horrific when you really think about that. It's all that's the fun stuff of the Peanuts when you look back at it. And then you always have like a bit like that. Almost all the holiday things were all the Peanuts things. But here, I just feel that kind of gets blown. Like you have a lot of those sequentially, just kind of piling on top of each other, and the end equation, very simply, is again, it's like a TV byproduct. I'm sure. Look, the show, from what I remember, it was fine. It was Peanuts. I'm not sure how closely they follow the comics. Like if it was just if it was just like them just adapting like kind of comic strips and then just kind of bring it to animation, or if it was more so just inspired by it. That's the thing I can't quite recall 100%. But again, it's just again this doesn't feel like a fully produced like kind of a holiday classic. It feels like kind of holiday because there are other holiday specials, you know.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
With all that said, let's just dive right into this. And of course, I'm sorry. One last thing that's important to look at this with, because it's going to jump into the first bit of the whole thing. It's very interesting looking back at this, Tiki, especially after we've gotten the excellent, Peanuts movie. What was that? 2015.
Yeah, 2015. I want to say yes.
Yeah, it had to be 2015 because I mean, 2016 was jam packed some really good stuff. I'm sure we would have brought it up then, so I think it was 2015.
Well, 2015, of course, was the year of Inside Out. That's the thing that instantly pops to my mind when I think of 2015.
Yeah. So yeah, the point is, see, we had that, and of course, that was kind of the kind of a greatest hit sampling of some of the great Peanuts comics, and of course, the holiday specials, and even this made it into that, and I feel they did a better job there than they did here.
Remind me how this fits into the Peanuts movie.
Well, let's break it down. I'll point it out. So let's start. So we have it basically ties into what we're just about to talk about. So we have Charlie Brown and Linus.
So I can take us through to the credits. I'm gonna go. I have to go grab a coffee really quick. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so we start this off. It's Charlie Brown and Linus in class, and then Charlie Brown's inner monologue going on here. And he's saying, "Oh boy," and this feels very classic kind of comic strip styles. Again, I gotta give it points where I can give it points on this one. Again, they kind of follow a few scenes in this feel kind of classic kind of Peanuts comic strip layout. So it's a minute till school. Oh boy, I can't believe it. A minute till school lets out for Christmas vacation. And no assignments have been announced yet. We haven't gotten any assignments over the holidays to do. And then, of course, the minute Charlie Brown even thinks this, doom. So we like a moment of pause.
This just sets the tone for the whole special, right?
Yes, and again, like this, I'm sure, like again, this feels like it was like pulled directly from the panel, and it wouldn't surprise me if it was. Again, the inception of like again, this whole storyline, I'm pretty sure was from at least the genesis of like all the Charlie Brown centric stuff in the storyline. I'm pretty sure it's pulled from a strip somewhere, like a running gag strip, which again was so powerful it made its way into the Peanuts, where the teacher, of course, we hear the classic wah 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 wah. Of course, the wah 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 in this case means nope, you got an assignment over the weekend. Oh, sorry, over the Christmas vacation. You got an assignment over Christmas vacation, and basically Charlie Brown and Linus on their way home, walking on their way home. Charlie Brown exposits because we can't understand wah wah wahs. We're not enlightened. We don't know what that means. Charlie Brown exposits that the wah wah has ruined his Christmas vacation has been ruined because he has to write a report. He has to read a book, not just any book. He has to read a book and write a report on War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy, and that's what's in the Peanuts movie.
I mean, that's just to me, that's ridiculous. I mean, I just right away, I just kind of have like, I don't know. To me, it's like, what do you think, Dragon? Is it in line with Schulz?
Is what specifically in line with Schulz?
Like the whole idea of like not just specifically writing a book report on something that's obviously above the reading level of these children, but also the idea of doing it over Christmas break. Like, I don't know. To me, that it almost seems overly cruel.
Now, here's the thing. That's a very, I think a very interesting point you've made there, because I feel War and Peace feels very Schultz's. Like, specifically picking War and Peace, that's Schulz all the way, because Schulz loved classic stuff. Like, he references in Kane, he'd reference the great classics, he had a bit of educational content within the Peanuts. Again, he was always a fan of literature and kind of the classic, the film classics. So that feels Schulz to me. I don't know 100% if this was pulled directly from a comic. I'm just from a specific strip or a line of strips. It feels like it does, because again, this thing did have stay power, and I imagine it would be something maybe a little deeper than the special itself. But I don't know, because again, Tolstoy feels like a Charles Schulz pull. So again, I'm not saying this with complete autonomy or being sure of myself here, but I imagine what happened to you if Charles Schulz didn't write this initially. And we know he didn't work directly. He didn't work directly on this. On this project. I imagine. Because I imagine Charles Schulz, busy guy. He was doing the strip while he was doing other things at this time. I'm trying to think when. I think Schulz passed away in the 90s. It was in the 90s or 2002, right?
I want to say it was like very early 2000s.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like 2002 is what it feels like, but I don't know. But you're right, because he had like the commemorative coin made. So, okay, I'm sorry, getting off base here. My point is, I feel that, again, War and Peace feels like a Schulz pull. However, the whole over the weekend thing, I think they made an error that Schulz would never make. And this is what I feel. I feel this is the seed that uproots everything, Tiki. I feel this is what brings the whole thing down. There's basically, ordinarily, you have like a logic question you kind of laugh off, like I mentioned with the rocks and everything, right? You have like a little logic. That's impossible, but it's funny. But the problem is, I think they had this, and it's too integral a plot point that it corrupts the whole thing. We can linger on the small stuff, and we can laugh about it nostalgically. But here's a problem in the story that I think Schulz was smart enough never to make in the other things. Why is Charlie Brown the only character who has to worry about this? If it was assigned to the whole
right.
That's a logic thing that we shouldn't be having at the very start.
It's like Line literally in the same classroom as Charlie Brown, and yet he has no reaction to it.
No one else is worrying about this. No one else is not, even if it's a different. Again, they were all assigned Leo. They were all assigned War and Peace, and none of them are sweating about it. And it leaves too many unanswered questions. And again, that's a huge problem to start with. And again, it's too tied into the plot. You can't just write off and like kind of question it and enjoy that. You have to live with that. And again, it's like science. Always over the years, it's always stuck with me. And I initially thought it was like one of those, oh, we're just going to laugh it off. But if you really look at it, that really hurts this, and that's a problem.
Yep, so fundamental flaw for sure.
That's the flaw I think brings this whole thing. That feels like very un-Schulz. Like, I think Schulz would have known just to kind of minimize and make it like a head scratch. Like, again, as we see in the Peanuts movies, to bring it up here, the Peanuts movie does this a lot better, where they're all assigned a book report, and again, like let me put it this way: they're told to write a book report, and they get to pick the books. And I don't know if I think there's like a list of books. I think if there's any complications, only that there's a list of books to pick from. That's the only complication, really. Because Charlie Brown, he goes with War and Peace because it was like Leo's toy store. It's what he thought it was, thanks to Peppermint Patty. So you kind of end up with War and Peace because of that. And again, they had a really great, remember the dramatic punch of that was he wrote the book report, and it was actually really good according to Linus. And then, of course, it got destroyed. And that was his big bridge to the little red-haired girl that was destroyed. So again, all of that worked tremendously well. And again, years later, different circumstances creatively, you can't. But again, that was done by the Schulz children, felt kind of spiritual Schulz all throughout that movie. Here, I'm not saying we don't have any remnant of Charles Schulz, but again, this feels structurally very it's a plot killer. Plot killer.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, so we're over, let's see, see over a hill. Linus tosses a snowball at Lucy and misses. How he misses, I really don't know. So Linus and Peppermint Patty, I think, are the biggest problem characters in this whole special, by the way.
Which is a shame because Linus is usually a standout in these things.
Yeah, I've always had like a little gripe with Linus, but again, Tiki, it's going to sound like a broken record, but again, retroactively, Linus really kind of kills this thing too. It's like Linus and Peppermint Patty really hurt this thing. Linus more so than Peppermint Patty, surprisingly. But anyway, so Lucy, this is clever. This bit I've always loved. This is my favorite bit I was talking about. I do love this. I always love this because Lucy, she rolls this little snowball into like a giant kind of like bowling ball that's like a giant boulder of snow, and rolls it down the hill, and it bam, right, bowls over Charlie Brown and Linus, and then we have like that's the perfect credits. The old Lang Syne plays, and they're all dazed, and it's like you being dazed after New Year's, but it's a kid-friendly version of that. I love it.
Yeah, for sure.
Great. Again, those like that. Yeah. Okay, so
so it's literally the title card that you love, Dragon.
No, again, that's not the favorite part, but that's like that again. That was like again when you think again, I'm like thinking about yeah, okay. Happy New Year, Charlie Man. What do I think of when I think of? I think of that scene, and I think of that opening. That's good, right? And then you think of War and Peace, which is it's a classic in Charlie Man. Therefore, you're associating those good emotions with it, right? Again, it's anyway. So speaking of War and Peace, Charlie Brown, he's reading the book, and he's just finished the Dust Jacket. Unfortunately, the Dust Jacket will only get you so far. If we learn nothing from Back to the Future 2, the Dust Jacket will get you only so far.
And then isn't this where Linus kind of launches into his diatribe of why War and Peace is so important?
Yes, and again, I do like the educational content that feels very kind of class. Forgive me if I sound like a Schulz snob on this. I'm just trying to analyze where this thing went wrong. So forgive me if I do that. All right, I'm not trying to be like the end all be all Schulz guy here. This isn't Schulz. I don't want to be that guy. I'm sorry if it comes across that way. But no, Linus again. This feels like kind of classic Linus. He had a meaning to do this. I'm just going to call. I guess I'll challenge you and the viewing audience to do this whenever you can. There is, as much as I hate this phrase it like this, there is a bit of a Mandela effect. It's been kind of weighing on me with the Peanuts.
Oh God. Okay.
Maybe you can clear it up. Maybe somebody can. But I'm trying to think if Linus, in the history of the Peanuts, he just grew out of the blanket. Because if you really think about it, well, Linus when he's at school and when he's almost at a certain point in the Peanut specials, I can't remember him having the blanket. And I'm starting to think that maybe he grew out of the blanket, and they kind of forgot about that when they did the whole I don't know what the deal is. Like, did he just grow out of the blanket and we just never notice it or not? Because he has it in Christmas and he has it.
I don't know. That's weird.
But if you really think about it, in Thanksgiving, I don't think he has the blanket in Thanksgiving. And,
oh man! All right, we're going down a rabbit hole here, man.
And remember, he's like throwing chocolates and everything, but no blanket when he's at school. Which again, he probably wouldn't have a blanket.
Okay, I'm serious. Don't encourage me with this shit. All right.
Okay, but just put a pin in, look into it afterwards. All right, just do that. Would you?
Okay. Like I'm fascinated now, but.
Okay. Anyway, so the reason I bring that up is because we have Linus in two classical concepts. Where again, we have the blanket Linus. And we basically Linus aside, he has the blanket. He's a Solomon with a blanket. That's how we know Linus. And I brought the blanket thing up because sometimes even without the blanket, he's still the Solomon. That's what we do with Linus. He's the wise Solomon, confidant of Charlie Brown, who gets crazy around Halloween. He gets very delusional around Halloween, but otherwise, the man knows what he's talking about. Linus, he's the kind of the wise man of the Peanuts. Linus knows his stuff. And that's where we start with it here. And I think they're on the money there. Linus is pointing out, how many book reports are written on the Dust Jacket alone, basically saying, Charlie Brown, you shouldn't just, you could do it this way, but maybe you shouldn't. And Charlie Brown's thinking, oh, but it's such a long book and it weighs more than I do, which is true, folks. This book does weigh as much as Charlie Brown does. So Lions think it's all high and mighty, which again, compared to later and compared to other things, like this to me, Tiki would stick out much more than the Easter Beagle thing. Because I know you have a thing about the Easter Beagle, Lions, where he's just like saying, "Hey, why Bob? The Easter Beagle's gonna come around." This to me, I imagine, would bother you more than that. What do you think?
I mean, this is, like, to be honest with you, everything in this special regarding Linus is overshadowed by the last thing he does, which is just, like a flabbergasted, like, it's almost surreal how out of character it is.
Yeah. We'll get there.
I can't wait to get to it, honestly.
Oh, we'll get there. Yeah, I guess this fits Linus's up front.
Dragon, that legitimately felt like you want to bring it back to another like internet creepy thing. Like that legitimately felt like Peanuts creepypasta.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I think you could joke about it going the creepypasta route very easily. I don't think it's there, but I think you could easily make it go there. I'll give you that much. Right. It's like like Charlie Brown. He's that's the day he snapped. That's the day he, there's an image that you could look without, like, I don't want to believe me. I'm not the one usually entertaining creepypastas.
Oh, I can't wait till we get there because it's going to be like the most ruthless takedown of anything penis related we've ever done.
I'm going to put a pin in what I was going to say because we'll just save it for when we get there. Now you bring it up. Okay. So
all right.
Anyway. So let's see. So Linus is kind of laying on kind of the intellectual guilt trip here. And again, here's the thing: Linus isn't wrong, and I've used this thing on people. So, this person does all this, and what about you? But again, so Linus isn't necessarily. Again, this feels kind of classic Linus, and he is trying to. And this is the educational portion of the Peanuts. Again, this is all good to my books. So Linus is saying, all high and mighty, he's reminding Charlie Brown. Do you know that? And this is all true from what I understand. Tolstoy's wife, Sonia. Tolstoy's wife, Sonia, she had to copy this ridiculously long book. It's at least 1,000. It's like 1,000 and so 30 pages, right? It's like 1,100.
I think it's 1,136. I want to say.
I think you're right. I think that's right. Yes. So like that many pages, and she copied that book by hand 7 times by candlelight, and you gotta imagine it's really cold there too. By candlelight with a dip pen. He really emphasizes dip pen. And they had to use, and sometimes she had to use a magnifying glass to make out his handwriting. Because again, I guess at that time she just couldn't ask her husband, like, "Hey, what do you mean by this? Decipher your own handwriting. I mean, why? Otherwise, why am I writing this? Why don't you write it, man?" Anyway, no, in all seriousness. And of course, after they put their child to bed, even, and after the servants went to their garrets, and then the house wasn't occupied, she had to wait to do all that till the dead of night. And you're telling me you can't even read it once? I'll admit, I have used that line a couple times, and I'm proud of it. I got it. It's like, yeah, it wins. You can't really refute this. Like, they did all that, and you can't even read it. All right, so and what's Charlie Brown's answer? That he's going to keep on reading. So he's before Charlie Brown continues reading, Charlie Brown, he answers the phone that classically, as Tiki and I love very much so, and as Scooby Natural reminded us so wonderfully, you have something painted into the background. You see the phone in the background just kind of painted there, and he interacts with the top part of the phone. It's a classic. You can't get it. Never gets old, does it?
Mm-hmm.
So it's Peppermint Patty.
No, it's not. It's really not.
Yeah, so I honestly, Tika, let me ask you this. On the whole, do you think just all the voices, I think everyone except Marcy and Lucy, I think, are off. What do you think?
Yeah, I kind of agree. I mean, I think Charlie Brown is okay, but Peppermint Patty to me is like by far the most noticeable.
Even Linus to a degree. I mean, Linus, Linus usually sounds a little bit more grown up, but here he's just I don't know. I think Linus comes across a little whiny, and Peppermint Patty just sounds all wrong.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's like the thing about Peppermint Patty is like she had like this kind of gruff tomboy quality to her in the original holiday specials and all the other stuff that I've ever heard Peppermint Patty in. And honestly, this is like the one thing that I've heard Peppermint Patty in where she sounds like she almost sounds just as girly as like a character like Sally or something. And that's just off. That just does not fit with her. Like characterization wise, it's fine. You know what I mean? Characterization wise, she's still Peppermint Patty, and I have no problem with the way that she's portrayed. It's just the performance. It's just completely the wrong voice.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Now you bring that up. There is one thing I did notice going back to this Peppermint Patty, especially in this scene, basically all the phone scenes. And this, on the whole, gets into the whole cynical quality we're talking about. This is where the cynicism starts to creep in slowly, where the world just seems really against Charlie Brown here. Because one, we're still not addressing that plot hole, which again we'll come back a little bit more later on. But the point is, Peppermint Patty, she's calling and she's telling Charlie Brown that she and Marcy are throwing a party. And, like there's going to be games, dancing, etc., all that. Charlie Brown says that he doesn't dance and he's reading War and Peace. Now, this is the bit I'm talking about. Here's where cynicism starts to creep in. And the plot hole, if I'm going to be honest. Like, one, again, he's doing his book report, which, again, everybody, the big thing that needs to be clarified is, so here's the thing that bugs me, It's a very simple fix, and I don't get why they don't establish this. Who's procrastinating? Is everybody else procrastinating, or is Charlie Brown procrastinating? They don't say that because this seems like
or alternatively was the wah wah wahs translated into, all right, everyone else have a Merry Christmas. Charlie Brown, fuck you. You're doing this extra assignment.
You might not be wrong, friend. You might not be wrong. I tell you. See, that's the thing. I mean, that's the thing that kills me with the plot. Like, it's a very simple fix. Just we've seen that story hundreds of times, like SpongeBob. Even again, it's like, okay, our guy, we love him, but he procrastinates, and we've all been there. It's fine. And Charlie Brown, at times, it looks like he's doing some procrastinatory things. But again, from what we're implied here,
Dragon, I'll tell you, now that we're on the subject of procrastination, by far my favorite depiction of that in a cartoon is The Simpsons season 2, episode 1. Bart gets an F. I mean, oh my god, that's a powerful depiction of procrastination.
What's that all about procrastination?
Right.
That's about procrastination, huh?
Yeah.
Sorry, I've seen it all appear on list. I've watched that. I've just seen it appear on really good episode list.
Oh.
All right. What was I getting at? Oh yes. Okay. So they have that. Just again, basically, a little clarification, because that's the thing. I'm inferring a lot, because again, I don't know if Charlie Brown's been trying to read this since the start. The idea is Christmas happened, so after Christmas, again, in that rough 5-day gap, maybe he's been starting the report, like the 5-day gap, and like, what more could someone's going to celebrate Christmas, and then after that, logically, because like Christmas break, I imagine like the 23rd onward. Now it's a little earlier, but I think like 23rd, 24th, 25th. Yeah, that's the main Christmas of it all. Then beyond that's like going to New Year's and basically going to like January, like 2nd or 3rd or whatever. So that's the thing, like, how many, like, he gets like at least like 2 to 3 days of respite, and assuming is he waiting till New Year's Eve, because they have a dance class and everything's got to be like, the point is the timeline's all screwed up here is what I'm saying. Right? I can't follow, like, did they wait till the last minute? But even if you wait till the last minute, it's like they didn't get a lot of time to read this giant thing.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, I infer that Charlie Brown tried his heart out, that he's just reading this right after Christmas reasonably, and it's just taking him a long time to get through it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing, they're not clear enough if it's procrastination or not. Anyway, the flip side, the Peppermint Patty of it all here, is that I think they made Peppermint Patty just even more dense, and they kind of dumbed her down even more than usual. They basically took the finesse that we had in the Thanksgiving special, the thing that feels like Peppermint Patty, because this is a Peppermint Patty scene. Charlie Brown or Peppermint Patty's on the other end of the phone. One of them calls the other one, and they're on. Peppermint Patty just is on a different wavelength. She's not getting what he's saying, and ordinarily it's like, okay, so Charlie Brown's just not asserting himself. Therefore, a miscommunication occurs. That's what the Thanksgiving special is all about, right?
Sure.
Here, Peppermint Patty, she literally, there's like a weird pause here in the scene where, okay, so Charlie Brown very directly, there's no room for misunderstanding. Charlie Brown says, I have War and Peace. I have the book report to do. A beat goes by, a small beat, but a beat goes by, and then Peppermint Patty is just continuing on talking about the bar. Like, she didn't hear it all. Like, she's deaf when it comes to Charlie Brown's pleas of rationality, of rationale. It's like she's just ignoring him completely, and that's the cynicism coming in right there. It's like, wow, everybody's literally against Charlie. Like, no one's hearing him when he's saying these things.
Right.
It's like she's so dense on the, like, that's the thing. I think they just like this kind of took the finesse out of it that we usually have with her. She's like, you could ask the girl of your choice, you sly dog. Like, did you not just hear what he said? He's busy and he can't dance, and you're inviting him. And she's just going on saying, oh, I know you're a little nervous about this being your first real day. Like, 1, it's not a date, and 2, again, busy. What are you not getting from this? See you there. What? So, again, it's Peppermint Patty 101, but Peppermint Patty 101 with like no subtlety about it at all.
Yep, I'm totally simpatico.
All right, so Lucy and Sally come in. They're talking up the party, and it's boy ass girl. And I just know, poor Sally's just a running gag in all this. I think it's classic Sally that we've always had, but it's kind of Sally on like you you write her like the back of your hands, like, okay, we've added nothing to Sally over the years, have we? Just Sally, just like, I know my sweet Babu will ask me, and then we have Linus here, just so confounded, like, I just vehemently denies any interest in her at all. Saying, I wouldn't invite you to a chicken race.
I know, Dragon. This is the thing. Like, I feel like normally the Sally and Linus interaction goes like Linus is kind of more annoyed, but here I feel like he's a little bit more like not necessarily malicious, but like more mean spirited, like more like more confrontational about the situation. You know what I mean?
That's the thing. I mean, it's almost like the ends of the earth, like, I don't like you argument. It's kind of what it is. Like, man, he's making an awfully big show if he doesn't like her. Maybe they're saying that he does like her, but we're not going to do anything with that because we don't have the time. So I'm not saying that I wasn't expecting.
You're absolutely right about Sally not having any like new stuff written for her. I mean, it's like you can basically copy and paste her dialogue from special to special.
That's the thing. And again, like Sally, I feel like I'm not trying to condemn the thing or not. I'm just saying, like, Sally, I think when done right.
It's a problem with like Peanuts in general, not just this special. It's a problem with her character.
Here's the thing, though. I've seen Sally done right in other places. Like they have like some other like it's not the Christmas special, but it's like other Christmas stuff that they've done where Sally, she's asking the smart questions. Like Sally's quite clever in places when she's left to her own devices. Seriously, she is. I know it's surprising. I mean, I don't know. Sally's she's kind of the Sally you can do clever writing with Sally is what I'm saying. But when you enter in Linus, like one of the various gags you had there, she has kind of like a sweet Babu thing with Linus. She asks like the kid questions. She's the little sister. She asked the little sister questions is what I'm getting at here. And that's what you can do with her. And here she's just like on a record of like sweet Babu, sweet Babu, sweet Babu. I'm mad at my sweet Babu. That's all she is in this thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's see. So beyond that, isn't he the cutest thing? That's basically that's the scene in a nutshell. So Lucy expects a certain piano player to ask her. I didn't know she was a Beethoven fan, but go that's a dumb joke. I'm sorry. I apologize for that, folks. Anyway, so Charlie Brown. So he's he's doing the book. Basically reminds him about the book report. I got a book report, and of course just falls on deaf ears again. It's just this is the cynicism of like really nobody's hearing him. So we have Charlie. I do love this runner though. So Charlie Brown is reading the book. So there's a runner where Charlie Brown reads the book and he narrates. And again, it's for educational purposes. It is legitimately he is reading the actual War and Peace. And I love the looming music. I love like kind of the Russian like the Russian sad music playing behind Charlie Brown when he's reading this thing. I love that. So he's I'm sorry, you want to take us through some of this?
Let's see.
You don't have to, obviously you don't have to go through unless you want to. You don't have to go through exactly what the passages or anything.
Well, no, it's fine. It's fine. But from my notes, isn't this where they go to the record store?
Yes. Yes. He is. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. So he's yes, Charlie Brown. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. I jumped the gun a little bit on that. So what happened was Charlie Brown. Yeah. Here's the thing: the looming music plays, but it's the same looming music that plays when he reads. That's what I was thinking of. So Charlie Brown and Linus are walking with the looming. Gotcha. Sorry about that, folks. That's on me. My bad. So Charlie Brown is walking with Linus with the looming music playing behind him, and he's trying to get now it takes her by all means.
Okay, so he's trying to get like either a comic book or a record of War and Peace. Maybe let's see what else. Like maybe
on tape or cassette.
And so basically he's trying to like dumb down basically like the equivalent of like, like, oh no, I'm not gonna do a book. I'm not gonna read The Great Gatsby. I'm gonna watch the Leonardo DiCaprio movie.
Pretty much. I gotta tell you, every time I think about that sort of thing, just kind of cutting corners and just watching the biopic, part of me would just wonder, like, imagine if someone just went really radically off with the biopic, and then that kid had to work with that, and just what the teacher's reaction would be. That was kind of amuses me, like, wow, like that, man, that's not accurate at all.
Honestly, I hate to throw this movie under the bus like this, but Bohemian Rhapsody would probably be one of those examples.
Again, I still we'll get into it with the end of the year thing. What did I don't see how again. It was a bit of a softball approach, but it really didn't leave anything out to me. But again, I went into that blind. I'm sorry, we don't want to get into the whole Bohemian Rhapsody thing right now. Anyway,
No, I mean, it's not that it left stuff out. It's just that it completely, well, it did leave a lot of stuff out, but it also completely, like, added stuff that didn't happen and reworked the timeline. I mean, there's a lot of, like, we could get into it.
all right, that's fair enough. All right. So yeah, he's asking like, okay, what about a computer game? It's a no-go. So of course, I love this guy. Linus suggests film strips. What about film strips? Goes inside. Nope. So now let's say here's the thing. I jumped in before. Now Charlie Brown's reading the book with the Russian music playing behind him. He's reading the book, and he starts reading. Essentially, just to boil it down a little bit here, he starts reading about the Bonaparte family court. The Bonaparte family is courting war. Like, again, I believe the folks. I haven't really read War and Peace. Again, in my defense, it is quite a long book, and the special in my youth kind of deterred me from reading it. But as a kid, I'm thinking, oh my god, books as heavy as
you're like in high school. You're like, please don't assign me book War and Peace. Please don't assign me War and Peace.
I mean, honestly, I think maybe once I read like like someone chopped it out and put it in a textbook or something. Maybe I've read a piece or so of War and Peace, but I don't think it's ever. Again, like I think I looked at it once and just see is it really that? Is it really like the size of Charlie? And folks, it is. It's not an exact look, folks. I mean, I forget I don't know if now maybe they've kind of Godfathered it, like they've chopped it in when you buy Godfather, like Schindler's List or something on DVD. This is ridiculous, by the way. I would hope with the advent of Blu-ray they fix this, but I really don't think so. Like when Schindler's List was put on DVD, like it's like the Godfather, they chop it up into 2 discs. So if you want to watch it, you can't. Basically, you could not do a commentary on it. You would have to. You have to pop both discs in. You have to do one, then the other one, like 2 hours, and the other 2 hours in the movie. It's ridiculous.
Or break the commentary up into 2 parts. That's probably what we'd end up doing.
That's the thing. I mean, that's what Coppola did, and with the Godfather. It just always feels kind of weird. Like, oh, can't get the whole thing. I'm sorry.
From my memory, Dragon, I believe the first Godfather movie was on 1 disc, but Godfather Part 2 was the one that was on 2 discs.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. You're absolutely right about that, T. That's what I'm thinking of. Two's the really long one. 2's the one that does that. That's what I'm
thinking. 2's like 4 hours long, from what I remember.
I think 3's on 1 disc. The first one's on 1 disc, and the third one's on 1 disc. The third one, not a lot there. That's probably why. 2, though, yes, you're right. 2's 2 discs, yeah. Anyway.
That is a damn good DVD box set, though.
It is, and I do have it, yes. So she's reading about the Bonaparte family things. Again, they're courting war, hence the whole. I'm just going to speculate what War and Peace is about right now, folks. I have no idea what it's about. It's been years since I've read that little passage. I'm going to take a guess. I'm going to guess that it's about like maintaining both war and peace, and maybe involves Napoleon Bonaparte. It's a guess. I'm thinking it involves Napoleon. Not sure. Guess anyway. Just blind guess at War and Peace. A very scholarly types out there. By all means, inform me, tell us, educate us. Save us a trip to our local libraries, or at least encourage us to go to our local libraries with the knowledge of how true and truly revolutionary the story may be. And that's nothing against the great Leo Tolstoy. I'm sure he's earned all those letters in his name. I'm sure he has. Anyway, getting back to the point.
All right, so Charlie Brown literally is carrying around like a dolly with the book on it. Like he's just carrying this like giant dolly through town and just going up and like walking to the dance studio. And Dragon, here's like something that really reinforces my theory that the teacher was just like, screw you, Charlie Brown. You get
real quick, remember he tried carrying the book in his backpack and it ended up flat on his back.
Right.
I imagine, Tiki, imagine this, like, how we have, like, their old scholastic book fairs and everything, and, how they have, like, there's all sorts of, like, peanuts as symbols encouraging kids to read and everything. They have their own bookmarks and everything. I imagine, like, for the big, like, the big hoopla about, backpacks being too heavy for the kids going to school, like too many books, and they have to carry them on their backs. This would be the perfect image for that campaign. Like Charlie Brown flat on his back with a giant book, or like a GIF of that, or something. It's like,
Yeah, but by the same extent, the special like doesn't exactly encourage kids to read.
It doesn't really, which is quite. But again, it feels very un-Schultzian when you really think about it. I think it's hard. Either the heart was in the right place, but then it just completely lost focus. Like, yeah, we're really not.
No. Given the way that this special just kind of crumbles at the seams towards the end, I don't think its heart was in the right place. I really don't, Dragon. I really don't.
Anyway, so yeah, the point again. This implies procrastination, but I don't know because Charlie Brown, he reads a bit of this book and he says, again, he said, I think here's why I say the heart's in the right place, because I think what they were trying to do here is, okay, he's reading the book, which we're going to shout out the book a couple of times, and then we're going to show procrastination is not the way to go. Unfortunately, they never say that's the lesson they're trying to exposit here, because the problem is Charlie Brown, he's doing procrastinative things where the PSA.
No. Charlie Brown is literally the only one who's trying. Like, if my theory isn't true, if everyone in the class was assigned this book report, like everyone is just caring fuck all about it, and Charlie Brown is the only one who's worried about it.
I think I've ran over all the potential plot lines for this, and I've ran through that one. I think that one's like it's the most likely, if we're being frank. It's the most likely, and one of the most cruel, but it's the most likely. Yours is the most cruel earlier on, though, like just him being assigned. Like basically everybody having the rock for Charlie Brown. It's like everybody has. All teachers have a book report for Charlie Brown around all the major holidays.
It's like the terrible version of the book report that Miles Morales gets assigned at the beginning of Spider-Verse.
Pretty much, but that one was the genuinely help him, though. That one was the legitimately help him. This one,
I know, that's what I'm saying. This is like the inverse of that.
But yes, so he's but again, like the story beats wouldn't, correct me if I'm wrong, wouldn't the story beats imply like the moral, what they're trying to get across, they're not succeeding at, but they're trying to get across, okay, Charlie Brown throughout this whole thing, he keeps bringing the book with him to places, and no, kids, you shouldn't bring a book expecting to read. Again, this is now kind of a dated message because now you can do it on Kindle and everything, and at least
right.
But yeah, the age-old PSA was like, don't, focus on your work. Don't bring your work with you because you're going to get distracted very easily. And basically, Charlie Brown's procrastinating right now. Don't be Charlie Brown. And again, I think they maybe started from that place and they just realized, like, no, we're just going to kick the crap out of Charlie Brown, so he's going to learn nothing from this encounter. Just life hates him. That's pretty much the lesson. Which, again, is not a very cynical lesson in what it is here. But
you know what? If you really are asking the question of is this Schultzian, like, at the end of the day, I feel like this is more in line with, oh, there goes Charlie Brown, how I hate him, than anything.
And that's the thing. I mean, it feels Schultzian in how someone would interpret Schulz based on the early work, based on the core essence without the finesse. It's Schulz without finesse. That's what I think this is. Anyway, so Charlie Brown's going upstairs to the dance city with the dolly.
Patty, just like, oh, come on, Chuck, we're learning the foxtrot.
By the way, just a little side note, just the little things I've noticed just going back to it, and things like, I like that there's an old-fashioned coat check room. I just wanted to point that out. Isn't that nice? There's a little coat check room. But yes, I'm sorry, you're right. There's Peppermint Patty, they're all doing the foxtrot. Come on, Chuck, let's do the foxtrot.
Bruno Tommy Lolly's on the side going like, 10! I'm sorry, that was a lame Dancing with the Stars joke.
Now I'm just thinking of Tom Bergeron.
Bruno Tomioli just really enthusiastically gives out 10s on that show.
Every time I think of Tom Bergeron now, I just keep thinking of the Muppets gag where it's, where it's like, did someone sorry, it's... Okay, I'm sorry. This sounds this is so ridiculous. I'm just laughing at this right now. I'm sorry. It's Kermit the Frog crushing Tom Bergeron's hopes and dreams when he says, "Did someone tell Tom Bergeron he's not going to be on tonight?" And we just pan over and we show Tom Bergeron. just
All right.
just so sad.
All right, get it together, Matt. Get it together.
No, but I figured it out. Okay. Thanks for it.
Okay, well, I have another logic nitpick here. What is the purpose of this dance class? Like, A, within the structure of the narrative, B, like, why is everyone in the class doing it? Like, is it just a class that they're taking within the foundation of the school?
No, I think they're all doing it because they have a party. I think they're just doing it for recreation. That's always been my take on it.
But I don't get that, Dragon. I don't know. It just seems like they're going to.
I'm not saying it makes sense. I'm just saying I'm pretty sure that's the direct correlation because there's going to be dancing. Therefore, they're all taking a dance class so they can dance for their presumably their first boy basketball party.
I really don't think children that age would give a crap about how well they dance at a party like this.
Well, again, doesn't make sense, but I'm telling you as it is.
All right,
that would look. If you had better logic, tell me.
No.
That's exactly. That's what I thought. Okay, so before I get into another Tom Bergeron laughing fit, Tiki, why don't you take us through this?
All right, so let's see. So Charlie Brown is back on the blue chair, reading War and Peace with the imposing Russian music. Let's see. Dragon, I don't know. I can't make heads or tails out of my notes on what exactly is being said in War and Peace.
Peppermint. Well, no, I think it goes back to reading a little bit momentarily. That's when we have like another him. Like, here's the thing: he starts to read, and then he is easily distracted. Then we get the reading thing a little later on. But so Peppermint Patty invites him to join in. They do the whole slow, quick. Which I gotta tell you, tell me if it was you as well, Tiki. But every time I watch this thing, slow, quick, it's stuck in my head for days. Did it happen with you at all? Like, did slow?
Yeah, I can't say that it did, honestly.
Even just for a little while. Did it stick? No? Okay, well, you're lucky then. All right. Anyway.
Not really.
Okay, anyway, so this whole slow, quick, learn the foxtrot thing happens. I like, and of course, here's another little nod to the Peanuts movie. The footprints on the floor, learning to dance. Got a bit of that kind of work. Again, this whole, Charlie Brown.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite scenes of the Peanuts movie, actually.
Basically, I presume the idea of like Charlie Brown learning to dance did most likely come from this. So, a little fun fact. All right, so we see Snoopy and Snoopy and Marcy are dancing. Got two Woodstocks dancing. Charlie Brown, he trips on the book. Kind of the button to the scene. He trips on the book, and then we cut back to the book. It's almost like if you want to be really astute and really kind of look thematically at things here, the book is ever present. The book was placed on the bench and now is on the floor because the book is calling to Charlie Brown symbolically that he needs to read. He's putting duty before pleasure around New Year's, and therefore he has to do it despite it putting a big drain on him and driving him into madness, as we see later on. So the book, I'm sorry, I'm applying way too much thought to this. Anyway, so he's back to reading. So as things, just the jazz War and Peace up a little bit for any of the kids who weren't really, and they're probably reading on their Kindles now, realizing, wait, if I just kind of fast forward through a lot of this, it goes by quicker. Why didn't I think? Why is it a big heavy book? Why don't we just do it digitally now? Anyway, so back, Charlie Brown's reading with the Russian imposing music, and as things are heating up with Anna Perlana, crap, this fuck. I butchered this obscure last name. Darn it, Pauluna. I believe it's. I'm sorry. I botched it now. I've killed it. Like Charlie Brown's killed the little tree. I've killed this reference. Anyway.
All right.
So the point is, things are heating up for, I presume, one of the main females of the book named Anna Pavlona. Let's just call it. I think it's Pavlona. I think I got it. Pavlona. Let's go with that. So Sally interrupts.
Yes. So she's wondering when her sweet baboo's going to ask me to the party. Then cut to, I wouldn't invite you to a garage sale.
Begins Linus just showing up it's like Myth from the Muppets movie. Just seems Linus just showing up, just whenever he feels a disturbance in the force, and she shows up.
Yeah, I'm glad you're acknowledging this, Dragon, because to me this has all the subtlety of a Family Guy cutaway joke.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's no phony gag. It's no phony guy. He's a big fat phony. Anyway, so check out the Orville, folks, if you want to see good Seth MacFarlane. Watch the Orville. It's come back today. Anyway, so we then have what do you okay? Now we have the balloon gag sequence. What do you think of? Take us through this sequence, man. Tell us about it.
I mean, the sequence is like fine, but it goes on way too long.
Yeah, so we have the Van Pelt family, and we see Rerun. I believe this is Rerun's first formal introduction within a holiday special, I should say, because there's this.
Yeah, it was nice to see Rerun. That's about the only memorable thing about this scene.
The only other, I think, if you want top tier Rerun, man, you got to see "I Want a Dog for Christmas," Charlie Brown. That's one. That's a good one with Rerun.
Okay.
Anyway, yes, I'm sorry. So Lucy, yeah. So Lucy and then Linus, they're blowing up balloons with them, and Rerun, for some odd reason, just kind of this is the logic I'm talking about. This is like fun logic here. We're okay. Why? Not important. Rerun, for some reason, for some otherworldly reason, can blow a cubed balloon. Tiki, can you blow a cube balloon?
Absolutely not. And frankly, I think that cube balloons are way more impressive than regular balloons. Like,
I know, right?
like this is so cool. Oh my god. This
What
is
do
like
they have again?
a balloon.
Like it's like from again. You watch Wreck-It Ralph, you got cube balloons again. So what's wrong with some cubage? Why? Squares and cubes, man. It's all triangles. That's all. That's all really matters.
You would turn me into triangles.
Okay, no, but I'm getting a little silly there. And yeah, I wanted to throw a little triangles reference there. But yeah, seriously, like, cube balloons would be a lot cooler than the round balloons because again, you rarely see it that often. If you could do cube balloons. So basically, Linus here again. This is to me is like Linus. This is the devolution of Linus, where we start with him as classic Linus, and now we're getting to him. This to me is like in that Easter Beagle framework you don't like, where it's like okay, now Linus like
honestly, he's just like, don't do it your way, do it my way.
Exactly. But again, so rarely do you see Linus go to this sort of place. It just feels kind of dirty. It's like, oh, Linus, why?
Oh, you think this feels dirty? Really? Really?
Well, I mean, I'm saying like this. I'm looking at the special in the whole, really, but you know, we're gonna get there. Don't you worry.
No, I know. I just love hyping it up.
So it's basically, I just love the rationale here, and this is a ridiculous rationale here. But like, this is funny when you really think about it. You're blowing air into the wrong places. How is he blowing air into the wrong places? So he basically just keeps trying. It just keeps happening. Then he tries like a long one, which is supposed to blow up like many circles instead. It was up one giant rectangle, which is hilarious. So that's good on Rerun. How blow on Rerun. You can do it, man. So let's see. So Lucy, she's asking.
I feel like there's some sort of weird moral message about being yourself in this scene, but again, Linus just comes off as the asshole, so what's the point?
Quote Just Friends, be yourself. Anyway, getting an obscure Just Friends reference, 2004's favorite son, Just Friends. Watch soon. Anyway, no, in all seriousness. Lucy's asking if Schroeder's going to invite her to the big party, and Schroeder's got a good response here, where he's saying, I don't dance. I play music. He'll be playing music at the party, which makes sense.
That's a legitimately, like, perfectly good argument.
And again, Lucy here, she's just kind of lamenting here that it's not the rejection. I don't mind the rejection, but you don't have to smile when you say it. Like the smile bugs me.
No problem with that. That's classic Lucy.
Yeah, I mean, that's all fine. Again, I don't hate the whole. Look, it's not. I don't want to be anti this whole thing. I'm saying this thing does have a lot of good bits to it, or at least consistent bits, consistent or something. Like,
cherry pick for stuff that even feels in character.
That's the thing. So that's again, it's not a good sign. I'm just saying it's not the worst sign. We're not seeing adults in the Peanuts world. That's where I draw the line. That's where that president.
What special do they do that?
That's the president. I think it's Independence Day. I'm pretty sure they call it Independence Day, but it's the one about all the presidents.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Don't they stylize the presidents though?
I really Tiki. It's been a while, but I'm pretty sure. When you say stylize, do you mean do it outside of the Peanut style?
Yes.
Yes, they do style. That's what I remember. That's at least what I remember. I mean, I
think they look like drawings you would see in a history book or something like that.
Exactly.
You know what? I don't have as much of a problem
problem with that, where I would draw the line, where I would be like, I just literally like for my own sanity, I don't want to see it. I never want to see an adult in the Peanut style.
I'm with you there. Only like
For my own sanity, it's like it's one of those things. Like I feel like it'd be one of those like, and I'm sure there's fan art of it online, and it's just like once I see it, I could never unsee it, and the whole myth would be ruined.
like the good. Here's the thing with most fan art, most good artists, what they're gonna do is they're gonna do them like they'll draw themselves or they'll draw their subject in the Peanuts. Like they'll be the kid proportions, but it'll be in the Peanuts look. That's the thing. If you're not the kid proportion, then it looks off. Then it looks like, what am I looking at? What holy creation is this?
It'd be like the Slender Man of the Peanuts universe.
Oh my god! You know what I mean? Something like that.
Yeah, we're just really going to town on these internet horror memes, aren't we?
Anyway, okay, let's get back on point here. So, Sally's calling Linus here.
Story is this where Charlie Brown snaps and becomes Jeff the Killer?
Is Jeff the Killer a real thing?
Yes, it's a very popular creepypasta.
Well, you know, yeah. Well, of course, I don't subscribe. Here's the thing: the weird, the offbeat Charlie Brown thing I subscribe to is the Family Guy cutaway. That's the one. That's the offbeat thing I subscribe to for older Charlie Brown. That's the one. Things didn't go well. It was this really funny, dark joke with the Peanuts, where it was like we cut to the reunion years later, and they're all basically they're adults, but again, they're not. It's not like again, like the sick and wrong thing would be if they're slavishly in the direct Peanuts. So it's in the Family Guy kind of Peanuts extrapolation. So it's, adult is the reunion where like this Linus still has the blanket, the little piano, and then Lucy's there, but Charlie Brown shows up. It's me, Charlie Brown, your old punching bag, and he laments the death of Snoopy in Woodstock, and he feels really. I didn't know it was going to happen to Snoopy. I don't give a crap about Woodstock, but Snoopy! Okay,
really quick, you know what that reminds me of?
What does it remind you of?
Do you know who I am? I'm Elroy Jetson.
Oh, yes, it is very in the same thing. Yeah.
I buried Astro in the backyard.
That's pretty much where, it's very simpatico. And again, folks, I want to make it clear. Ordinarily, I would never cite that Family Guy joke, but I mean, this special, it's kind of pushed some buttons, so it's the one opportunity I'm going to really call that reference. I've always made a point never to use that reference with the Peanuts, but I have to tell you.
All right.
This one kind of brought it out, so it's probably never going to happen again, at least as far as I'm concerned, but this was one opportunity. So.
Obviously, God is, right?
Yeah, I know.
Okay, it kind of reminds me of that too.
Yeah, no, I think we've talked about that before. Basically, I think. Anyway, so getting back on point here. Yeah, so Sally's calling Linus and saying it's the last chance. Like you're gonna ask me now, or I'm gonna go with someone else. Do it. Go with someone else, please. Do. Then we have Peppermint Patty interrupting Charlie Brown yet again, calling, asking who he's inviting to the party. Oh, I haven't thought of that.
Like to me, it's like one of my big pet peeves with any sort of narrative structure is when we just get scenes that repeat themselves. Like this is almost the exact same Peppermint Patty scene that we get in, the first time she appears in the special.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Let me put it this way. Again, let me use the Thanksgiving special as a point of comparison here. Whenever she called in that, it forwarded the story. Things were getting out of hand, and we kept adding a new character to the overcrowded Thanksgiving scene. Again, that kept building on itself. Here, the same information, only now Peppermint Patty feels a little insulted. That's really the only thing we get from this scene.
Right.
Who are you asking? Because we already know she likes him and she's expecting him to show up there. It's like, why are we doing this a second time? So, like, asking who are you inviting to the party, right? I haven't thought about it. I've been reading the book. You knew it'd be me. And again, just completely different way. Like she says, "Oh, I knew it'd be me. I knew you'd ask me," and just completely on a different wavelength.
My God, it's like a different reality.
You see what I mean, though, right?
Yeah, totally.
And Charlie Brown then considers, and this is like the one time in the whole thing. It's really, this is like a big kind of fist pump moment here. The one good thing that happens for Charlie Brown here, where he kind of sticks at the peppermint patty here, is he says, "Man, again, he's not doing it intentionally, but still, it's like good for Charlie Brown getting one in there, you know." Charlie Brown, he considers, "Oh, maybe I should ask that little red-haired girl." What? So long forever, Chuck. I mean, that's again the one time where things worked out for Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
Briefly, albeit very, very, very briefly. Okay, so Charlie Brown, he's written an invitation.
I fucking wonder what's running through Linus's head in this scene in retrospect. I'm just saying.
Look, well, we'll get to him. It's a funny observation. I'll give you that. It's a clever observation, you. Clever. So Charlie Brown, he couldn't bring himself to call her on the phone because remember, even like in the Peanuts movie, presumably she lives across the street, if not down the street from Charlie Brown. She lives like
this actually felt like the most like the Peanuts movie for me. The whole like trying to talk to the little redhead girl and being really awkward about it.
Yeah, and again, now this I gotta tell you, this feels again like this feels Schulzian. I know we boil it down to Schulzian, folks. We're that desperate for it at this point. I'm sorry, but yeah, this feels the most Schulzian in the whole thing. Charlie Brown is feeling nervous. He couldn't bring himself to call her, so he's written a letter that he's going to slip in her mail slot, and to invite her to Peppermint Patty's party. Because again, he couldn't just mail it in the mailbox, otherwise it wouldn't get to her in time. So. So let's see. So then Linus is asking the logical question here. Maybe for sinister motives. You never know. But no, he's asking the logical question. Why? The why? Basically, Charlie Brown's worried. Why? Why is he worried, Tiki?
Because he might get his hand stuck in the mail slot.
You know, if I'm not mistaken, I think that might have happened for a bit in the Peanuts movie. Even I think they did homage the whole hand caught in the mail slot gag. I think briefly, I'm not sure. Could be wrong. It's been a while. So it says, "Oh, that's ridiculous." Of course. And what if I get stuck and then someone opens the door and I have to explain why I'm there? So Charlie Brown, you worry about the most impossible things. And of course, a little second later, Charlie Brown puts the letter in, and he's stuck in the mail slot. No joke. And then poor Charlie Brown, pathetically, he calls to Heather and invites her to, "Heather, are you home? I was wondering if I can invite you to a party." I mean, I tried to, he's basically stuck in the mailbox. I can meet you here. I mean, I can meet you there. If I ever get my hand out of this mailbox, I just can't stand it. Oh, poor Chuck.
All right, Jake, we really need to speed up the pace, unfortunately, because
you're right. Yes,
we're halfway through. So
this should all go by quickly. So we say Snoopy and Woodstock. They're in Snoopy's magical doghouse, by the way, because you have like a mustachioed member of Snoopy's family on the wall. So they don't explicitly say it, but we're inside Snoopy's doghouse, which is the first for this, by the way, first for any of the holiday specials.
Mm-hmm.
We're inside there. They're all decked out from the New Year's party. Meanwhile, Charlie Brown's lamenting in bed. What if the little red-haired girl? He wonders if she's going to be there. She never answered his letter. What a way to start the new year. Tomorrow, millions of people will be dressed up at parties. And of course, Snoopy and Woodstock kind of tip their hats at him through the window. Some are ready ahead of time. That's a cute gag.
Okay, Trey, I'm gonna stop you right there. That to me is like the most relatable thing about the whole special, and that's like what I think of when I think of Charlie Brown New Year is the whole idea of like, like everyone else is out doing shit and like having a good time, and like me, because of my antisocial demeanor, like in all honesty, Dragon, like tomorrow night I'm probably gonna be like sitting in my room watching Netflix, or something like that. I'm not doing jack shit tomorrow night. So I'm kind of a Charlie Brown in that regard. And it's like, I'm sure there's going to be people at work that are already like prepped up and ready to go for New Year's Eve. You know, it's like I don't know. Anyways,
I don't know if it's going to be any sorts of. I was going to help you at all, but I mean, yeah, watching Netflix, it's kind of neat. You know, just got to get some time to watch some Netflix on New Year's. Going to usher in the new year with some Netflix. It's not bad.
I mean, it's kind of pathetic to me, but whatever.
Anyway, so much. Okay, so it's party time.
Excellent.
Yes, it's party time. The band's jamming. Really, this is a great bit here where the band's jamming. They're all playing really well. Get Schroeder, Snoopy, Franklin, Pigpen. They're all jamming really well there. Let's see. Marcy, she says, "Oh boy, it's a shame Charles couldn't make it." Says, "Oh, I couldn't care less." You know, Peppermint mad at him. They're already getting ready to play some musical chairs. Then Charlie Brown enters and says, "I thought you had to study." Well, finally, someone asked about it. I thought
Right.
you had to study. I thought
Okay,
I could read.
I thought you had to study, not, oh my God, we have to study. Holy shit, what are we doing? We're wasting all this time learning how to dance when we should be doing this book report.
It's all crazy. It's just all crazy, man. So, you admit it, you sly dog. You wanted to start the new year with me. By the way, there's some weird subtext that I was about, again, like the whole kissing at New Year's Eve thing, but instead of just being with somebody New Year's Eve because they're kids. And again, like, why would we have a big point of emphasis around all this? Because, I don't know, it's a weird, like a companionship thing around New Year's, but with their kids. So it's, I don't know, it's strange.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It's like, I think I like the thing with Peppermint Patty that was always endearing in the originals was the fact that it was kind of like an illustration of like, you know, the girls mature faster than boys thing, you know what I mean? It's kind of the same reason why Schroeder and Lucy work so well.
Exactly.
And in that regard, like, you're right. Kind of like take it a little too far here.
Yeah. So, he's hoping the little red-haired girl's going to show up. And, Chuck, you drive me crazy! So, let's see. So then they're getting ready. We're playing musical chairs. Can I play? Oh, I guess so. Come on. So then we have a music, just to fast forward through a lot of this. So they have a musical chair sequence. Now, this to me, again, this feels very TV show-esque. This feels like something they do on a TV show a lot. They're like the little musical number while something's going on. This is the sort of thing I see on those VHS tape commercials all the time. Anyway, so basically they handicap the players. Basically it's like we just kind of like take them out one systematically till like we have this guy with Charlie Brown like till the music stops. And Charlie Brown he sits on Peppermint Patty's lap by accident, always a little embarrassed, and then she gets a first place ribbon, and then Snoopy kisses her. Ain't that cute? Meanwhile. Well, Tiki, finally. Here's the good scene.
Okay.
Whenever all the happy good memories I had of this scene right here. So Charlie Brown and Lucy, they're toasting root beer. They have cookies, they got root beer, they're toasting it. And Charlie Brown, he's lamenting on the big New Year's of it all here is lamenting on New Year's resolutions. This feels like a classic Peanut strip, man. I dug it.
I hear you.
Where Charlie Brown, he wants to be a changed person next year. That's his resolution. He wants to be strong and firm. And Lucy says, "Oh, please, you'll always be wishy-washy. You'll always be wishy-washy." And Snoopy's kind of sniffing the root beer a little bit, unbeknownst to her. "I've got it. I'll be wishy one day and washy the next." And so again, that to me, that's the best scene in the whole thing right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then it gets a bit where it's like kind of recycled, but I don't know, it's okay, I guess, where she says, oh my God, your dog sniffed in my root beer. Where's my binoculars? Basically, it's a rehash of, I need hot water, I need iodine, I got dog germs, that gag.
It's a little bit of a rehash, but at the same time, I feel like it's not just a beat by beat copy and paste of the dialogue like Sally is. You know what I mean? At least it's like a different scenario than getting licked by Snoopy.
You're right about that. And it's like she's like, I bet this is full. I love how forensic she is about it. It's like kind of kid forensic. Where basically, I bet this is full of dog germs. She pours out like a little saucer with binoculars as if it's a microscope and she could see anything. Aha! I see it. And then we get like a good, and I think this to me is a good PSA right here. You should never sniff someone else's root beer. That's a good that's a good PSA right there. That's a successful one. Pretty clear cut and simple.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay, so let's see. Charlie Brown is trying to read outside. Peppermint Patty follows him. Oh, a pretty sly move to get us alone, Chuck. Yeah. So she's asking about what are some good rules living. What are some rules for good living in the new year? Then Charlie Brown gets into this really. This scene just feels off, doesn't it? Where Charlie Brown's just kind of listing things here. It says keep the ball low. Don't. Feels very Hank Hill esque for Charlie Brown. I don't know. Keep the ball low. Don't.
Use your dental floss every day, Bobby.
Don't leave the crayons in the sun. Don't let the ants get. They the one that cracks me up is don't let the ants get in the sugar. I'm sorry. No, this one's really funny. This one. Here's the thing. The audio is really off on this too. It feels like they added this line somehow.
Oh my god, I'm so glad you mentioned that because yes, I felt the exact same way. I'm like, wow, this obviously came from two different recording sessions using two different sets of microphone equipment.
Yeah, we have this gag here where he says like, "Never volunteered to be program chairman." What? Never volunteered to be. You know what had someone had to like nudge the guys in the recording booth. Hey, tell the kid to say this. You know that had to happen. So, and always get your first serve. And then we have the good one here, which says, and feed your dog whenever he's hungry. Below those rules give me a better life, and a fat dog. That's kind of a funny piece. That's kind of cutesy. That's nice. And that feels very Schultzian. Like, yeah, that's a Schultz joke. I respect that.
Mm.
All right, so let's ask about New Year's resolutions. Yes. I know, you know how I dread the whole year? This time I'm going to dread the year one day at a time. Again, that's a Schultzian joke. I'm down for that, too. It's pretty fun.
Mm.
Okay, so Snoopy turns on the TV. The ball's about to drop, and then we have this really cynical, just kind of like really kind of a slant against us. Again, no subtlety whatsoever, like no finesse. Whereas Peppermint Patty to leave a scene, she says, "You're weird, Chuck." And just like, what? Really? We're just gonna call it just like you're weird, Chuck, and she leaves.
No, I hear it. It's like for once, Charlie Brown's actually kind of opening up to her a little bit, like in his
Yeah.
way. And you would, I don't know, maybe it just kind of plays to like maybe they're thinking that it's like another layer of, like she's being immature in her, like, like maybe boys and girls like have different levels of maturity for different things. I don't know. Maybe that's what they're getting at.
Maybe. So then Charlie Brown, I love this the music. As Charlie Brown reads again, we have the Russian music, but it's Russian Old Lang Syne. I love that. It's the Old Lang Syne song done in like the ominous Russian music. It's great. I love that. So he's reading as the balls basically, and this is funny. It's kind of like maybe why they chose War and Peace. I don't know because it's about a scene at a ball, which one of the again that female character has to host a ball, essentially host a party, get the correlation. Okay.
Mm.
Let's see. It's beginning to snow. Charlie Brown falls asleep. Then he dies there because just no one came up. So, so let's see. The gang all toast. Let's see. Linus gets the. Oh, here we go. Linus gets the door, and it's Heather.
Here we go. Here we go.
It's the little red-haired girl, and here's something that bothers me off the bat too. Is classically the little red-haired girl is obscured as much as you can, and here it's like we show her. And every time when we talk about the Peanuts movie, I kept thinking, well, we have seen her technically. When I say that, Tiki, I meant this. We see her. So she's shown, and let's see. So we don't. It says, oh, I don't know where Charlie Brown is, but would you like to dance?
Oh boy! Oh, it's like no. Like, how big is this house? Like, this isn't a mansion we're talking about. Like, you can't just look for Charlie Brown. Like, you as your friend, fucking know that this is the girl that Charlie Brown has been yearning for forever, and it's like, no, fuck Charlie Brown. We're not going to put any effort into actually looking for the poor guy. I'm just going to instantly swoop in from under my best friend's back and just have at it.
Like this thing always bugged me for many years, but again, I minimized how much of a problem it was. But yeah, this is a major issue.
I mean, it's so much of a problem that it's almost funny, Dragon. Like, to me, it almost veers into like a so bad it's good kind of thing.
Like, Linus is such a prick, just kind of stabbing Charlie Brown in the back like this. All right, so it's like a few seconds to midnight. Peppermint Patty can't find Chuck herself again, but you know where he is. You just saw him. You know he's reading. Forget it. Then it's all Happy New Year. They all sing kind of Peanut style, just kind of like, in Christmas, like the Christmas special. They're all like tilting their heads back. Old anxiety. Charlie Brown wakes up, he re-enters, and then Charlie Brown's just feasted upon by negativity in the room here, where Peppermint Patty's upset that she was all alone, and Charlie Brown's like the whole Sally complains to Charlie Brown that Linus didn't even, Linus didn't dance with me. You know why? Because he was dancing with your friend in this video. Okay, here's two things here. Okay, two things. One, do you remember the guilty shot here where we just see Linus looking all guilty? The way they frame this was like Linus, we could see Linus looking like, yeah, I did something bad. Yeah. It's like, Linus, you son of a, like, if I were, I'd kill him. I'd throw the book at him. I'd go at him like, Linus, I'm going to strangle your own blanket, you son of a. He knows how much he's. It's like what if Phoebe made the moves on Arnold? That's kind of what that's like right there. It's like, what if Phoebe just like around Christmas just like went under the mistletoe with Arnold and right in front of Helga and just say, look at all your hopes and dreams smashed, Helga. Look at them, cry over them, man. Something like that. That's for making me get your coffee. Well, the donuts. I guess it's the donuts from the whole. The whole broken leg episode, but anyway, so Charlie Brown, he's overwhelmed, and then we have the creepypasta image where we see this really weird shot of Charlie Brown with like the bulging eyes. Basically, we see a shot of Charlie overwhelmed, where ordinarily he should be tackling Linus right now, but it's just like Linus is rationalizing as Charlie Brown's like, being the good heart soul is, he's not going to tackle Linus. But he's like, what? And I love the line there, he does yell at him. He did what? I'm saying, yeah, Charlie Brown, get angry, yeah.
Yeah, and I got to admit, Charlie Brown, your friend was a dang good dancer.
That's the thing. That's the thing that kills me about it. This is the thing where it just really is a super apparent, like, oh my God, Linus, you prick, shut up. You mother. That's the thing right there. Just you didn't. It was just I didn't know where you went, and your friend's a really good dancer. She was here, and I missed her. And we have this poor Charlie, like just kick a man while he's down. So Charlie Brown, he goes to the door, he opens it up, and you see she's left by now. Marcy kisses him on the cheek and says, Happy New Year, Charles. Like the only nice thing that happens to him. And then Woodstock, they have this gag, basically the gag we had before us here. It's kind of cutesy where all the Woodstocks are carrying the Happy New Year sign in the wrong order. Snoopy gets them, rearranges them in the right order. Ain't that cute? And we have the big coup d'etat of it all. The big black, the big.
Oh dark. My God, dude. This is just the scene that just made me go. Like, this is honestly, like, even more of a creepypasta than anything else, because it's just like, well, what the fuck is the point? Like, why did I sit here and watch this whole thing if it's just going to turn out so negatively?
Oh, yeah. So Christmas breaks
like
over.
All his hard work and all his worry meant nothing. Just nothing.
You get nothing. Good day, sir. It's like, what if we didn't have the happy ending for Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory? It's like one of those moments in life, It's like, wow, that's just sad. So Christmas breaks over. Charlie Brown has finished War and Peace at 3:00 in the morning. Doesn't remember a thing about it. Doesn't remember a thing about it. The teacher. Charlie Brown tells Linus, like in class, I believe, like what he got here. And he says he got a Tiki. What grade did he get?
A D minus.
Lowest grade without failing. And this gag's funny. It's dark, but this line here is really poor. I mean, my heart goes out to him, but still, it's kind of a funny line. It's dark comedy. It's kind of funny though, where he says, "She said it looked like a report written after midnight on the last day." What did you say? What could I say? I congratulate her on her remarkable insight. That cracks me up. It's like Charlie Brown was caught. He just was honest. He congratulated her. That's funny. I don't.
Okay, here's the thing. That would have been an excellent punchline to the end of a run of strips, like throughout the week. But it's the end of like a
30-minute special, it just kind of leaves you scratching your head. Like it's just one of those like tonally confused things that I so famously don't like.
Yeah, yeah, I see your point there. I'll give you that. Yeah, but yeah, it does feel like a good. It's a good strip button though. Yeah. So, what's the next assignment? He's assigned something else, and what is he assigned, Tiki?
Oh God, it's something by Dostoevsky, right?
Yes, Crime and Punishment by
Yes,
Dostoevsky.
yes, yes.
Crime and Punishment, which now I don't know what the again. There's more questions that are unanswered, but Crime and Punishment goes on for at least like 10 to 12 volumes.
Oh dear.
The point is, even longer book by another presumably Russian guy.
uh,
So then, of course, is the last line here. Happy New Year, Charlie Brown. So that's it.
All right, man, oh man, Dragon. Just final thoughts. It's like this thing is so bizarre. It's by far the most divisive I've ever felt about anything peanuts related. But honestly, it's almost so cynical and so over the top dark that I almost kind of love it for that. Like it's so dark that it kind of bounces back to like the origins of the peanuts and really kind of like makes it a full circle experience, which is like I 100% doubt that's what they were going for in any way, shape, or form, but it's an oddity. I'll definitely give you that. It's definitely a curiosity for sure. More importantly, though, Dragon, just to talk about the New Year thing, this is a fucking like. Say what you will about this being like a Charlie Brown special. Say what you will about that. It's fine. It goes either way. It's hit or miss as a Charlie Brown special. It is a terrible New Year special, Dragon. Who wants to ring in the New Year like this?
Not a lot. I'd imagine not a lot.
I mean, to me, it's like when I think about like ringing in the New Year or a great New Year's Eve film. Like, of course, we just did a speed round during Disney debates about what Disney movie you would watch to reign in the new year. I picked something like The Emperor's New Groove, something that's going to be like really positive and funny and filled with quips and jokes. And it's just like I don't know, man. It's just it just leaves you with this weird like pseudo creepy pasta taste in your mouth at the end of it. It's just an oddity, man. It's a freaking oddity.
Well, on an unrelated note, here's something good I'd watch the closing. Here's a proper way to end the new year. Watch Holiday Nights, that scene between Gordon and Batman on New Year's Eve. That's how you do it. That's how you.
All right.
That's what you watch on New Year's. But I mean, beyond that, I gotta tell you though, in regards to us doing this to kind of cap out New Year's. I mean, 2018 has been a rough year, I think, to say the least. And I think this special encapsulates the rough year. If you're going to celebrate New Year's and it's been a rough year and you're waiting to get into the next one, I mean, this one, it's not inaccurate. But in all seriousness, though, talking about it as a special, it's the weakest of the holiday specials easily. I mean, look, at the end, it's the weakest of the holiday specials. That's not even counting again, like I'm talking about like of the original ones, which I would lump this in like way behind the originals, but it'd be behind the originals before I include some like the Independence Day thing.
Oh.
But let's think like I watched again. I watched this out of habit, but again, not out of preference.
Uh-huh.
It's again, I'll watch it for those bits that I like, and again, out of duty to the Peanuts. Again, pretty much in the way Linus was going on about. You mean he's done this great man's done all this, and you can't even read his book. In this case, like this, Charles Schulz is giving so much, and you can't even watch a very very mediocre / mixed Peanuts holiday special. Really, you can't do that once a year. Woe is you. It's like, yeah, he's so Charlie Brown just look. This is Charlie Brown's the overwhelmed every man whose life's punching bag, and that's kind of the interpretation this is. It's basically looking at that, but nothing else. Again, you're missing kind of the charming finesse that we're used to. So a bit of that shines through in a limited space here, but it's again. There's not really a whole lot of New Year's stuff to watch. That's kind of what brings us, at least what brings me to this, I guess, on an annual basis. But you know what? It's still Peanuts again. You look at it critically, though. It really it's the worst logic problems that the Peanuts has ever had. Again, traditionally it's been like logic here and there. It's just kind of been like kind of fun to pick apart. But now you can't do that consistently. Again, I blame it for them just not getting their ducks in a row. This feels like kind of a mass produced, like, let's do a Peanut special, and it's kind of a cash in versus something that has like kind of the true grit of like the original ones, like of an actual special. Again, it's a TV byproduct before it's a special. That's the doom of it all. But you know what? You get what you get sometimes.
All right, folks. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I legitimately hope that your 2019 is a lot better than the start of Charlie Brown's New Year, for God's sakes. And be good to each other, man. Just don't screw over your best friends, all right? Just don't do that.
Don't sniff someone else's root beer.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.